7th career touchdown for J.J. Watt, and from there it was all Texans. Deshaun Watson, his first Thanksgiving Day game early in the second, down 1, down no more. Watson, Duke Johnson, touchdown 20-14 in favor of Houston. Early fourth, it's 26-17 Houston, 1st and 15. Watson's favorite target is Will Fuller, the speedy one, up the left side, behind the defense and in for the score. 2-point conversion is 34-17, and Deshaun is feeling it. Little over 10 minutes left. 1st and 10, same score. And here we go again to Mark Sanchez point. Look how pretty this play is. The patience. Watson, wide open. Will Fuller. Fuller, 6 catches, 171 yards. Watson threw for 318 and 4 touchdowns, and the Texans win 41-25. And don't look now, they have a sneaky outside chance at getting into the playoff picture, and their quarterback is the reason why. Look at the numbers. 15 touchdowns, 0 picks in his last 6 games, and in the process, he's now the 5th player to do that in a single season in NFL history, including the playoffs. So let's talk about this player, Mark Sanchez. I opened the show by saying Deshaun Watson's having the best season no one will ever remember because the team is 4-7. But as you watch the way he's playing right now, what do you see?
Well, he can throw a deep ball with the best of them in the league if he's not the best himself. And he's identifying coverages so well. He's manipulating defenders with his eyes. He looks so calm in the pocket. And when things break down, he has this ability to throw on the run. And he looks so calm and so comfortable in these difficult situations. Look at him hitting guys on the run, throwing them open, right? These guys are covered, and then he throws them open, putting the ball in front of them. His anticipation, his footwork, it's all just uncanny right now, and it's really unfortunate because they're wasting his talent if they don't build around him. So hopefully that happens next year.
Yeah, they had a brutal schedule to start their season. Now, as I mentioned, they've played their way back to sort of the periphery of the playoff race in the AFC. That may be overstating it. But, Bart, what do you see? As you, Bart Scott, watch Deshaun Watson right now, there are not too many quarterbacks in the sport whose names aren't Mahomes that look better than he does.
Well, I will put him right there with Mahomes. I mean, we had this argument last year. If Watson was on the Kansas City Chiefs, I still think the Chiefs are just as dominant with him. He's one of the best players, and he's a winner. He's a guy that can make all the throws. He's a guy that makes everybody around him better. It's just been unfortunate that, one, they couldn't protect him when he got in his early in his career. And then now they traded so many of their assets away as far as draft equity that they're going to have to try and find a creative way to try and get some back so that you can continue to build around him. Now, that he has decent weapons, but they still struggle to protect him at times, ability to allow him to move around. But I think they're going to have to trade their biggest asset in J.J. Watt next year so that they can try and get some defensive help so that he can be surrounded by a complete team.
Does feel like time to sort of start over there. In the meantime, to the team that lost on Thanksgiving yesterday and tends to do a lot of that, I posted these numbers on Twitter yesterday, and they're just numbers, and it got about as much reaction as almost anything that I've put up on social media in a long time. The Lions fired Jim Caldwell because they felt they should be going deep in the playoffs. He was 36-28 his 4 years there. He was 9-7 his last year. They brought in Matt Patricia to try and beat the good teams. If Matt Patricia won his next 24 games in a row, he would still not have as good a record as Jim Caldwell did while he was there. Those are the facts. You can take from them what you wish. Bart Scott, I'll give you the first crack at this because you're the Detroit native here, and I know this hurts you to your core. What do you think?
I mean, once again, Dad had horrible turkey dinner yesterday. He told me it was miserable, and it's become expected as well. But if you look at the Lions, they gave Matt Patricia everything that he's asked for. They allowed him to make all the moves that he needed. He just hasn't been able to get it done. And I think the Lions fell victim of trying to get that young, smart, innovative young coach for the next 20 years, and they've missed. We've seen it happen with the Rams, with McVay. We've seen it happen. And they went to try and go young and go innovative, but they had a solid piece, a stabilizing force in the organization that hasn't had much stability in its history.
Nico, that's your guy, Matt Patricia, Matty P, you call him. What do you see there?
Yeah, it's tough because I've been with Matt for a long time. Obviously, him being my defensive coordinator, my position coach back in 2009. He's a very smart coach. I can say firsthand, I know how hard he works. He works extremely hard to try and give his team the best chance of winning, but it just hasn't happened in Detroit. Look, there's really no excuses at the end of the day. The NFL is about production. If you're a player and you go out there and you don't perform and you miss tackles or you miss throws, you drop passes, you're going to be fired. So I mean, it's just tough. If you're the head coach, you're not winning, they're going to move on from you. So I know this year it was kind of right the ship or get off. And at this point right now, it doesn't look like Detroit's going in the right direction.
That's fairly said. Guys, sit tight with me here. We have so much to do with you all day long. But now we get to this developing story, which is extremely significant in the NFL. It obviously impacted yesterday, and the impact continues. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is among the players on that team to test positive for COVID-19. Among four latest players and one staff member to test positive yesterday. So they've now had at least a dozen players test positive for the coronavirus this week. They've been especially hard hit. Currently 10 players on the reserve list, missing key players such as Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins and Calais Campbell. And now not only the quarterback Lamar Jackson, but a backup quarterback in Trace McSorley. And so let me bring in Jeremy Fowler, our insider who's been covering the story for us like crazy. And Jeremy, you were telling me that as of now, again, this game is scheduled to be played just after 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. As of right now, is that still the plan?
Greeny, I just checked with the league source and was told there is no change in the status of the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. As of right now, at this minute, it is still on. Now, they are working through and monitoring this situation. I checked with the Ravens. They are loosely prepared to travel. So it's not looking great, but the league is trying to determine right now whether this positive testing rash will subside this weekend, because that's 5 straight days Ravens players have had at least one positive test. So they need some good news in a hurry here, but they don't want to move the game unless they absolutely have to.
And to be clear, absolutely have to would not be based upon competitive advantage or disadvantage. It would just be based upon safety, right? So it doesn't matter if Lamar Jackson can't play and the running backs can't play and all that. They will play this game if they feel that it is safe to do so based on coronavirus protocols.
Yeah, Greeny, personnel is sort of irrelevant here, whether Lamar Jackson's out and 3 of his backups are. You know, if they have the number of guys on the COVID reserve list, they've built in, added practice squad players, reinforcements that you can bring in. It's really simply about, is this game medically safe to play? And so if it is, the league is going to power through like it has all year. It has week 18 in its back pocket if it has to reschedule games. I'm told that's a last resort. They don't want to do that.
So clearly, Week 18 is out there. They don't want to do it. Forfeiture, in theory, is out there. Clearly, no one wants to do that. What can you tell us about the circumstance of the coach that has been has been suspended by the team?
Well, Greeny, he was suspended because he didn't follow the protocol, from what I've heard, and so that means not wearing your mask around the facility. That potentially increases the spread, and so you have players like Lamar Jackson that are playing the game. He could have gotten it from several offensive linemen that have been put on the COVID reserve list. He's got running backs that he's close to in his own locker room, like J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram. They're on the COVID list. And so this is the problem the NFL is facing right now, is that these guys could have contracted this 6-7 days ago, and the team is still getting positives. So if they don't get good news in a hurry here, either Friday or Saturday, knowing that the results are going to get better, they're going to have to do something with the game. Now, they can maybe move it back a few days, but then the Ravens run into that problem with the Cowboys playing Thursday. Now you'd have to move that back as well.
Yeah, let's be clear on that. The Ravens are currently scheduled, well, they were supposed to play the Steelers last night. That game has now been moved to Sunday. Yeah. They're also scheduled to play the Cowboys on Thursday. So there are a lot of moving pieces in all of this. And of course, the league will take a close look at whether or not protocols were violated. Jeremy, stay with me. Let me take a look at why this game is so important. The Ravens are in a precarious spot in the AFC playoff picture, 6-4 with the Raiders and the Dolphins. Our Football Power Index gives Baltimore just over an 85% chance of reaching the postseason, but that could change in a hurry if they're not able to compete in some of these games. All right, we're just getting rolling. Coming up, it has not been a smooth ride for Tom Brady. Why one of our crew says it is time for a divorce in Tampa. You'll hear about it. And then it's been a season of failure for Michigan and Penn State. Who needs the win more?